Hi guys, my name is Bobby. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm giving you my January wrap-up, my 2-book January wrap-up. As most of you know, if you watched my 500 sub Q&A or I think I talked about it also my February wrap-up a little bit, or February wrap-up, February TBR at all, you know that I've been going through a lot of stuff in my personal life, and my dad being the main one, he has dementia and needs to be put into a nursing home. So I'm in the process of getting all that done. Excuse me while I turn off my fan because I am a hot mess and I forget. So you don't have that noise. But yeah, so January was a shit month for me. I didn't read hardly anything at all. Actually, I read 2 books and that was good enough for me. I'm just glad I read something at all. Thank you, Cindy, for helping me get through the month by buddy reading with me so that I could at least get something read. I mean, that really helped. But yeah, and oh, I forgot to mention, I believe in my February TBR, I am not reading a BookTube Darling this month because with all the stress and stuff going on in my life, I don't want to have that forced pressure to read. I want to kind of read organically, and that is one that, you know, every month so far I have read or pick something to read. I only have 4 left until I have to figure out new ones. If I continue it, or I want to wait a little bit for a couple more to come through, because most of the other BookTube darlings that I've seen or I would classify as that are ones I do not want to read at all. So I don't want to force myself to read something I know I'm going to hate, because what's the point in that? And I slump real easy and I don't want to slump. So I'm trying to avoid that. But yeah, there's only 2 books to talk about, so let's get to them. First book I want to talk about is the first book I read, and that is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Red Rising was my BookTube darling for the month of January. It was the one that called me the most, and I loved it. I gave it 4 stars, I believe. Or did I give it 5? No, I think I gave it 4. So I'm sure you know what Red Rising is. Red Rising is a sci-fi fantasy. I would kind of classify it. It's definitely sci-fi, but there's fantasy elements to it that centers around, why can't I think of his name? Darrow Davian. Both the main characters in the 2 books I read, Davian and Darrow. They're both D names and they're both weird names, so sorry, I apologize. Darrow is our main character. He is a red. In this society, the reds, well, it's our human society, so it's just way in the future. I don't remember if that gives an exact year, but it's way in the future to where we have colonized other planets. We've colonized the moon, Mars, Saturn, even the gas planets, Venus, Mercury, all the way out to Pluto even. So we've colonized everything, and we've kind of cut ties with Earth. But Darrow is a red, and he's been told for multiple years that the reds are there, and the reds are the lowest of the low. So, and this is our new society. Everybody is classified by a color, and it's almost every color under the fucking rainbow. Golds are the top, and the reds are the bottom. And the reds, there's 2 types of reds. There's the red that Darrow is, where they are strictly underground. They never come above ground, and all they do is mine this special gas. And then you have high reds, which do all of your menial jobs like janitorial work, housekeeping, that kind of stuff. Would, you know, you'd be considered like low grade jobs. And Darrow is one of the underground reds. He is a special diver to dive for this gas. I forgot. I think it's a kind of helium. Helium-3, I think. And he has no idea what's going on in the up on top of Mars. He's in Mars. He has no idea what's going on in the outside world. They are told repeatedly that everybody's still on Earth and Earth is dying, and they need to mine this helium so that they can terraform all the other planets and get people off of Earth. What he doesn't know is that happened over 300 years ago, and they still have been using them as slaves to mine the gas that they need. So Darrow is a red. He's married. He's young. I think he's 20, early 20s, late teens, early 20s. And something happens to where his wife is killed, and they kill him too, but he is rescued and taken away by this radical group that wants to overthrow the Golds, and he has no idea what's going on up top. He goes up top. He sees that everything has been terraformed and they're living up there and have been for hundreds of years, and of course he's very, very angry, and so he wants to do what he can, which is infiltrate the Golds and bring them down from the inside. So that's kind of your basis. I'm sorry, I was kind of jumbled, out of practice. But that's where the story starts. And for how short this book is, it's very fast moving. It definitely has Hunger Games vibes. Really strong Hunger Games vibes. So the Gold children, when they are in their late teens, early 20s, they go to this special school-ish. It's considered a school, but from where I'm at, they haven't done any schoolwork or, you know, just reading the first book. And they put them in this giant game where they are stuck in this game until there's a winner. And so it's kind of like Hunger Games, except for they're not fighting for the death. They're not supposed to be fighting for the death. to the death. They have med bots that if somebody's severely injured, they come and take them out of the game and fix them or whatever. There are some deaths, but they're not supposed to kill people. Though if they do, they don't get punished for it. So it's kind of like it's a fine line. You're not fighting to the death. The whole point is to fight to conquer. So all these kids are picked from these different houses, which are represented by Roman gods. And Darrow is in House Mars, so they have all these different houses, and each house is fighting to try to gain control and overthrow all the other houses the way that the Golds did with the other colors and the other types of humans. So that's the point of the story, which, like the whole book is pretty much the first like quarter, I guess, is Darrow's life underground, him getting up, meeting the group of Ares, I think they're called, or the House of Ares. They're the radical group, the rebellion group that are trying to get him in there. And then the rest is him in the game and acting as a Gold and all the stuff he needs to do to try to win, pretty much. This was really good. Darrow, don't know how I feel about Darrow. I do want to continue with Golden Sun and Morningstar. Not sure how I feel about Darrow, because Darrow's one of those characters where he's like the chosen one trope. But he's like one of those ones where you never fear for Darrow. You never fear that he's going to die, because there's always a MacGuffin or something that comes through for him that makes it work. So there's, it's like kind of treading that fine line where I'm like, I like it, but at the same time I'm like, I like it, but there was some tropey things in here. From what I understand, it gets better as the story goes on. But I did really enjoy it, and I'm glad I read it. It was a booktube darling I've been eyeing for a long time, and especially since I'm trying to get into sci-fi, and this is a sci-fi fantasy kind of teeters on the wall there. So if you haven't read it and you like fantasy and sci-fi and you want to dip your toes in either, this is probably a good start. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to move on whenever that will be. And then the only other book I read was my monster book, and that is An Echo of Things to Come by James Islington. This is book 2 in the Lycanius trilogy. I bet he read this with Cindy, just like I did The Shadow of What Was Lost. This is a huge, is it 800 or is it 700 pages? It's like 700 and something. This one I was happy with because we had a glossary. We had a table of characters, like it was great. But this is a 716 page behemoth. Absolutely loved this story. This did suffer a little bit from middle book syndrome. Not horribly bad, but we're following Davian, Weir, and Asha, which are the same 3 we followed before, and Caden, the 4. So we follow them. They all have the different perspectives. Weir's perspective I didn't really care about as much because he was dealing with a lot of the political stuff, and the political stuff he was dealing with was kind of boring, if I'm honest. I really cared about where Caden was, and I can't really say much because it's a sequel, but Caden had more of the adventurous part of the story, and him trying to recover his memories and the bits and pieces he's getting. That was way more interesting to me than what Weir was going through. Even Davian's storyline where he's learning to be an augur and like doing other things with the other augurs, that almost was a little boring, but it was more interesting than Weir's. Asha's storyline got a lot more interesting in this one, though she didn't have as many main POVs as the boys did, but I still really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I can't wait to continue on. I think Cindy and I are going to try to tackle it in March, but like I said, I have to wait till after I get back from vacation before we even start it, because I want to try to get it done in March, because I don't want it to carry into April, because I have a buddy read with Vicky in April. And granted, I'm doing 2 buddy reads again this month, and I can only usually do about 2 at a time, but these are so thick that they take up almost the entire month because we do 50 pages a day. So, hopefully we'll get this trilogy finished in March, but I still highly recommend it. It's still a very solid fantasy series, very original, with like crazy fantastical monsters. The magic system is really cool and very well explained, and I highly recommend it if you want to get into a fantasy series. I like this better than Mistborn. Don't come at me. Like, I read Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson and I got bored. I didn't connect with the characters at all, but I'm really attached to these characters. I want to know what's going on with them. I want them to be okay. And where this book ended, some of them are in some pretty dangerous situations. And from what I understand, book 3 does a 1-year time jump. So, which I guess is going to be needed the way this book ended, but I'm excited to get to it. But I do highly suggest you guys go pick this up if you like fantasy at all, especially, I mean, it says for fans of Sanderson and Robert Jordan, which I'm not a big fan of Sanderson, though I'm not done with Sanderson yet. I'm not going to read I'm done with Mistborn. I read Mistborn, DNF'd the second book. What is that? The Well of Ascension? Well of Ascension. DNF'd that one because it was so boring. It bored me to tears. I still want to try his Oathbringer series. The Stormlight Archives. Oathbringer, I think, is the first book. Is it Way of Kings? Either way, I want to try the Stormlight Archive. I want to give that a shot before I give up on Brandon Sanderson completely. I'm not going to read, Skyward, the young adult. I'm not going to read that one. I've heard mixed reviews. I know a lot of my friends who are Sanderson fans loved it, but then there are people who are kind of on the fence that said the main protagonist was really whiny and annoying, and that's one thing I can't stand, is an annoying female protagonist. And I know he can write good female protagonists, because in Mistborn, Vin, I liked her. She was a good protagonist. There was just certain things I just didn't connect, but she was well written. Even though I didn't connect with her, she was still well written. So I'm not... I want to still give Brandon Sanderson a chance, but if you're a fan of him, you'll probably really enjoy this book. Don't know if I'm a fan of Robert Jordan yet. We'll see after this month, but I still highly recommend this series if you haven't picked it up yet. I know it's scary and daunting, but like, just do what I do. 50 pages a day. 50 pages a day is enough. If you get hooked, like I have, I mean, there was times in The Shadow of What Was Lost where I wanted to keep reading and I had to stop and not let myself read more because I was buddy reading it. So yeah. Still loving this series. I'm sorry I can't talk much about it because it's a sequel, but I still highly recommend it. Okay, guys, that's it. That is my very short January wrap-up. I'm sorry January wasn't that great of a month. Usually January is a pretty decent month for me because it's the middle of winter. We've got like snow and rain and all that nasty garbage, so I'm usually like in the house and reading. But like I said, I've got a lot of personal stuff going on, so I haven't really felt the motivation to read. But as of right now, I am currently reading 3 books. So... which is good. I've got 2 buddy reads going, and then I started The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. So either way, like I've started, I think I'm getting my reading groove back. Like, I've been trying to read at least 50 pages a day. Well, now it'll be almost 150 if I read 50 pages a day from each book. But yeah, at least I'm getting my reading groove back. Hopefully I'll at least finish 2 books because of my buddy reads in the month of February. I'm hoping to finish more. But yeah, that is my January wrap up. I'm sorry it wasn't that great, guys. It's just been a long January. Felt like it took 6 months to get over. But February's looking up. We're starting to move, starting to get more reading done. And, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for all of your kind words. You guys have been so amazing in the comments with all of your support and just kind words and being supportive. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me, especially since you guys, your internet friends, like you guys are out that you don't have to say anything to me if you don't want to. And it really means a lot. It's been a hard couple of months, but we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's still far away, but at least I can see it now. But I really appreciate everything you guys have been doing and being really supportive. And I think my next video will be a vlog. I started vlogging again since I'm reading. So my next video hopefully will be a vlog. Since I'm posting this on Friday, maybe I'll post the vlog on Tuesday and kind of swap my videos around and do vlogs Tuesday and do regular videos on Friday. I think I'm also going to do an unhaul because once my tax return comes, I'm going to buy more books because it's getting to the point where I'm looking at my shelves now and going, there's a lot of books on there that I think I don't really care about anymore, and I've kind of lost interest, and I've got all these books on my wish list that I really want, and I want to buy them because there's stuff I'm excited about right now. So I think I'm going to do an unhaul, and then once I get the books, then I'm going to do a haul because I haven't done a haul in a while because I usually buy books like here and there. But I think it's time. I think it's time to do a clean out. So hopefully you'll see those here coming up soon. But my next video should definitely be this week's vlog that I'm in. So yeah, today's like the 6th, I think, of February. So my next video should definitely be the vlog from this week. But again, thank you guys for everything. Thank you for being here and being supportive. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one.